Peace, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast choice. It is October. I gotta look at it. October the 6th. It is a Thursday. It is the almost the almost the end of the week. I mean, you got one day for those who wait for Friday to get it popping, as some people say. But you don't have to, right? You don't have to. You don't have to wait to Friday just to say that it's a good week for you. You can manage what you've done thus far. Peace. Good morning, Miss Berry. I haven't seen you in a while. So excited to see you. Always excited to see returned listeners here at Consistency is Currency. So for everybody that shows up, I will always show you gratitude. If you don't get it all day, just know that you can come here in the morning at Consistency is Currency and get gratitude shown to you, because I'm excited to see that you're alive just like I'm alive. Every day that you see me and every day that I see you, I know that we have the opportunity to do what? Manifest. So as you can see, the question that's proposed right now on the screen is asking you, do you manifest? That is a question that you can answer, because everybody knows if they manifest or not. If you don't manifest, then say that. Now, I could ask you your why, but I don't want to know your why. You're going to get into your why yourself. But the question is, do you manifest? If you don't manifest, then now you can go from there. Peace. Good morning, Miss Teresa. So for everybody that's here again, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate you. If you're listening on a podcast, one of the podcast distributions, I thank you 1,000%. Tomorrow's Friday. So tomorrow, Friday, what we're going to do is we're going to give shout outs to all of the podcast listeners by way of region, like where you listening from, whether it's Saudi Arabia, Italy, whatever it is. We're going to give those shout outs tomorrow morning. So for everybody that's listening in podcast, I will shout you out tomorrow. All right. So today we're talking about manifest, right? I manifest. That means you assume. That means that is you. That is something that you do. So I want you to put the words I manifest inside the chat, because I want you to possess it. I want you to say that that's me. Or if it is not you, by the end of today's conversation, trust me, you will want to manifest. If not now, you will want to manifest a whole lot more once we get finished with this talk. All right. So before we really get into it, what I want you to do is to go ahead and to make sure you share this, because this is going to touch someone. This is going to touch someone. If it's not for you, maybe it's just not for you. But if it's for someone, you never know until you share it. Go ahead and share this live so we can tap into it. All right. So I manifest. Right? I manifest. That is something that you say to you, that you can say to you to get you going. Like 2 podcasts ago, we said, I came to win. And a lot of times people say, I come to win, or I came to win. But now after you have showed up in the room, or you showed up in the space and you said you come to win, now what are you going to do? You've made it this far. You've made it into the place. But now what are you going to do? It's just like when it says your gifts will make room for you. But now you have to stir up the gift. Yes, the gift is acknowledged, that it is now assumed by you. But now you have to begin to stir up that gift. Because if your gift made room for you and it puts you inside of rooms, what are you going to do in the rooms that you find yourself in? You got to stir up the room. You got to stir up the gifts. You got to put yourself in a position to acknowledge that I am supposed to be here anyway. And since I'm here, it's time for me to manifest. It's time for me to put all that training to work. It's time for me to put all that schooling to work. It's time for me to put all the hopes and dreams and all of this fairy tale stuff that you've written down to work. Now, I'm not really a fan of vision boards. I'm a fan of action, because you have all these vision. I know I'm a step on somebody's toes, but it's not my concern. You have all these vision boards, and people do vision board classes and workshops and parties and all that stuff. But what if you've made this elaborate vision board and you put all this stuff on the vision board? You put this mansion on the vision board. You put this Maserati car on the vision board. You put pictures of money all over the vision board. Okay, now what? What are you going to do? You just spent 2 hours cutting out stuff and writing stuff on this vision board, but now it's just a board. It's just some construction paper, or it's just whatever type of paper that you use to put all this stuff on. But now what? How many times have you created this vision board, but you've done nothing with it? That's the answer that's a question that can only be answered by you. Again, I'm not a fan of vision boards. I'm a fan of action. We can stay inside of our heads all day, but when you going to get outside of your head and get yourself to work? That's where the manifestation comes in at. That's when you're ready to really manifest. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into it. That was like my icebreaker. Not really, but really. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So for those who may be new to the platform, you have, I'm going to give you the definition of the words. I'm going to give you the etymology, which is the origin. And if I say white over red or red over white, that is the color that I want you to pay attention to. So let's go with the definition. All right. The definition of the word manifest, it says be evidence of, proven. Be evidence of, proven. And the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is red over white. You like that pause? Like, okay, which one are you going to go with? It's red over white. Be evidence. Be evidence. That means that's you. That means that's it. It's be. There's no question to the word be. You are this or that. There's no other side of the fence to that. It is. Be evidence. Because if there's something that you want to do and you want to bring it to pass and you want it to create something to a tangible object, you have to be the evidence. You have to be it yourself. Right? You have to be it yourself. Because when we talk about faith itself, when it says faith is what? Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So in order for it to be seen, you have to be the evidence. Again, faith is the substance of things hoped for. But when you're ready to put your faith to action, you have to begin the process of manifest. Be evidence. To manifest is the byproduct of your faith. If you can believe that you want something, then you have to be evident to bring it to pass. That's why even when it says faith without works is dead, it's dead because it hasn't been brought into life or have been brought into fruition. And in order for that thing to be brought into fruition, it must become evident. It must come to pass. It must be born. It must be brought into a physical state to be proven. I'm just giving you definition. But when you look at it and assume the responsibility of be, then you take that assumption and you create that assumption to reality by being evident, by being the evidence. And now the second definition of manifest is clear or obvious to the eye or mind. I think a lot of times we already spend enough time in our heads. And I know I can say it again. I'm speaking to me in an outward manner that you can hear. So I'm talking to myself. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to me. You just are able to hear it. And if there is something that I say to me, then if it resonates with you, then assume that what I'm saying is something that you can uh, utilize or acknowledge for yourself. A lot of times I'm inside my head a lot, that I begin to notice that I haven't really manifested that thought yet. If that's you, say that's me. I mean, being inside of your head, a lot of times it is a safe space. It's cool to be inside of your head, but when you gonna get out of your head and get out your way? I'm gonna say that again. Again, I'm talking to me. I'm not talking to you. You just blessed to hear it. When are you going to get out of your head and get out of your way? Because it says clear or obvious to the eye or the mind. The very first inversion that I want you to pay attention to is red over white. That's not the one that I want, but I'm going to start with there. I'm going to start with red. Or obvious or mind. Because it's obvious you still inside of your head. It's obvious you still inside of your thoughts. It's obvious that you still haven't made that vision come to pass. It's obvious because you haven't done nothing with it. It's obvious that your idea is going to stay an idea because you haven't done anything with it. It's going to stay on the paper because you have yet to take it off the paper and put your hand to the plow and begin the process of putting it to work. It's obvious that it's inside of your head. It's obvious that there may be a component of fear that's attached to it. It's obvious that there may be a large component of procrastination attached to it. It's obvious because it's still inside of your head. I don't know who was supposed to receive this, but I know that I was supposed to be obvious to listen to what was given to me to talk about today because I manifest. It's obvious that you inside of your head. But the thing is, at least it's inside of your head. That means, therefore, it exists subconsciously. But it's obvious that it's inside of your mind. It's inside of your head. But the true inversion that I want you to pay attention to is white over red. Clear to the eye. Because the word manifest to me, and I want you to see it for however you see it. The word manifest is the bridge between your clear thoughts and the obvious actions. It's the bridge, because when my thoughts are clear and it's clear to the eye, that means that I've assumed I have assumed a responsibility to manifest, and it is obvious that what I thought I did. But you're not going to assume something if you don't have, nor have you seek clarity with inside of your mind, because once it is obvious inside of your mind, it is so clear that you can see it with your own eyes. Right? Because remember what we talked about vision. What is that one word that has two eyes that only those who are willing to see it can see it? And that's the word vision. Vision can only be seen by those who are willing to see it. But when the vision is so clear, it is taking it out of your mind and creating it to a present and something physical and something tangible that is clear to the eye, that my thoughts was consumed by my actions and I have assumed the responsibility, and it is clear to the eye that I have manifested. And the third definition of manifest is become apparent through the appearance of symptoms. Procrastination is a symptom, right? Because it kind of feels like it's a sickness for some of us. Procrastination is a symptom, right? Fear could be considered like a symptom because it always happened. Like, man, every time I get to this point, I just start feeling nervous and afraid to go beyond this point. So then it's diagnosed as a fear. But it's really you being anxious to go, and you're anxious to execute, but it is masked by your fear. So now what I want you to pay attention to is the white over red, which is to become apparent through the appearance. Because when you manifest something, it is apparent through the appearance. It is apparent because it exists. It is apparent because it was brought into a physical manifestation. It's apparent what you're thinking because the actions show based off of your thoughts. So do you manifest? So let's go to the origin and let's go to the etymology of manifest. It says manifest is Latin for manifestar. Again, if I chew the word up, I don't speak Latin. The Cumberland County education system in Fayetteville ain't really teach us Latin. And I got a D in Spanish. I don't know. But telling on myself. All right, so Latin for manifestar. It says to discover, disclose, betray. Meaning to display by actions. And I'm going to tell you the meaning to life. I said it before, and I will always say it. Manifest is within the fabrics of the meaning of life, but is a byproduct to the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life, Mr. R2? I'm going to tell you. It's my version, and I hold truth to it. The meaning of life is in your discovery. It's simple, right? It's simple. The meaning of life is in your discovery. So to manifest, it says to discover, disclose, betray, to display by actions. So when you understand or you have acknowledged the meaning of life, or you have acknowledged when you get that aha moment, like, man, this is what I was born to do. I have discovered it. Because it's been disclosed inside of your mind for so long. It dwelled inside of your subconscious for so long. But when you discover it, what are you willing to do after you discover it? You start to manifest all types of stuff. That's why I say the meaning to life is discovery. When you discover your gifts and you discover your talents and you discover that thing that you do so well, you're ready to manifest. You're ready to build a world. You're ready to go and just to be a blessing to everyone because you've discovered what your gift is, right? And now it's time to manifest. Now I want you to say it with me. I manifest. Because only those who understand how to manifest will say, I manifest. You can look yourself in the mirror today and look at you and say, I manifest. I'm where I am because I've manifest. I've worked past my fear. I've broken the barrier of anxiety. I have faced the trauma and I've manifest the healing because I refuse to stay under the thumb of whatever the trauma was. So I had to manifest the thought to put myself in the place or the position to seek guidance or to seek help outside of myself. So I can still manifest those thoughts. I manifest. I manifest. That's taking it personal. I've manifest. That's you understanding what it is that you're doing. I manifest. That's you starting your business or you getting you a new car because you manifest and getting your credit straight. You went from 550 to 720. It took time, but you manifest. Celebrate those small victories. Acknowledge those small steps that you've taken to get to where you are right now. That's because you manifest. You manifest. So let's take this deep dive real quick. So manifestation is like the idea of bringing something you want into existence, whether it's through something that's uh, inspirational or through practice, like you're doing something over and over again until you figure it out, and now you're able to manifest and you're able to duplicate that process more than once because you acknowledge the practice of manifest to see it as though it was. Because to see it as though it was, that means you got out of your head and you got out of your way. To say, like, you know what? I see where I want to be before December, and I'm not waiting to December to do it. I manifest right now. I manifest today. Because manifestation is really like a self-help exercise that you can focus your thoughts and desire that particular outcome. And now you begin to practice it, whether it's through mindfulness or whether it's through prayer or whether it's through visualization, meditation, whatever it is for you that you do in order for you to bring that thing into reality. That's taking my concepts and creating the reality based off of my thoughts, based off of my dreams, based off of what I want to do. Because the action is that you think things into existence. Again, I see there as though it was. Because you're creating like action items and action steps. I want you to look at it this way. Creating action items and action steps. Because the actions are your goals and ideas, but the action steps are the manifestation of the items or the ideas or that thing that dwells within your subconscious or that thing that dwells within your mind. But when you begin to take that and write it down and begin to do that, which what you said that you were going to do or you want to do, then it becomes manifested because that is the pursuit of evidence. But hey, manifest. You can manifest. You can build. You can create. You can write down. You can make it plain. But until you get out of your head and out of your way, the things that you want to do will not happen until you begin to actually do them. You begin to actually changing your mind, the way you see these things as though they were. If you want to do something today, just do it. Figure out how you want to do it. Figure out where you want to go to do it at. If there's something that or a place that you need to go and action this particular thing, figure that part out. And then just make it happen. And acknowledge that that is what you want to do. Because remember, it's talking about clear to the eye, but obvious to the mind. it's obvious inside the mind that you want to make this happen. You want to be in this particular space. You want to be about doing this thing. But when it is clear to the eye, that means that there was clarity. That means you understood your assignment in getting it done. And it is evident by something that you can see and show and show yourself approval. Like, you know what, man, I did that. I'm proud of myself. I'll pat myself on the back. I remember when it was just a concept. I remember when it was just a thought, but I got outside of my thoughts. I got outside of my head. I got out of my way and I started to manifest these things. And I know how to do it over and over again because I figured out my formula. Get out of my way. That's the formula. Get out of your way. And begin to assume the manifestation of action, and is now become evident that you was clear in your thoughts because of the evidence, because you are actually bringing it to pass. All right, that's enough. But hey, I see y'all tomorrow. I'm interested in knowing about what are your takeaways. What did you learn? What's that aha thing for you? Go ahead and put that inside the chat because I want to learn from you. Just like sometimes you get some nuggets from me, I want some from you. I mean, it's reciprocity, right? Can we live in a world of reciprocity? So what was your takeaways? What was that thing that settled inside of you that, like, you know what, man, that hit me and I think I want to try this out today. What is that? Put that inside the chat. And I'll see you tomorrow here 7:30. Here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Hey, make sure you subscribe. Go to iHeart or go to Spotify or go to Anchor, go to Amazon Music, all those podcast platforms. Go to one of them, whichever one you already listen to podcasts on, and go ahead and subscribe and listen to the other stuff. Because right now we at 208 episodes. But y'all be blessed. Peace.